Well, this week's WOD, we're going to get back to meeting some of our jockey colleagues. Another one this week, it's apprentice jockey Ronnie Huckaby. Ronnie's coming to the end of his apprenticeship. Soon he'll be a journeyman rider. He's impressed me on the racetrack. Earlier this week, I sat down for a few minutes with apprentice jockey Ronnie Huckaby to tell his story. All right, our Meet the Jockey series continues today. It's apprentice jockey Ronnie Huckaby, and he joins me. Ronnie, good to talk to you. You won't be apprentice jockey Ronnie Huckaby much longer. You're about to lose your bug.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's about to come to end June 29th, and that'll be it. So,
When I watch you, you look like a polished rider to me. I've told your agent, Brian, I've told a lot of people this. Um, I see improvement in you honestly week by week. When you look at your career so far, what do you think the biggest improvement you've made is?
going to Oaklawn and riding down there with all those guys that know, been in the Derby, rode the Derby, done it all pretty much, and hanging around them. And I told them when I got up there, I was like, if y'all see anything, just please help me in any way, just take 5 minutes. If you can help me, I'll take it. Like, I ain't scared to learn. You know what I mean? I wanted
Yep.
to learn. I was hungry. So I
And
liked being around those guys.
and yet they were willing to accommodate
Yes.
you and to teach you.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, they helped me out a lot.
So going forward, my guess is that when there's a young apprentice jockey that gets into the room and he comes to you, you'd be more than willing to pass on what you've learned from other jocks.
Oh, yes, sir, I would. Yeah, that's the thing. We got to help each other, like, because you want to keep it going, so we got to help everybody out that we can.
When did this kind of pop into your head? You know what? Maybe race riding's in my future. Did you grow up in a racing family? How did you get to the track in the first place?
So, no, I didn't grow up in the racing family. To be honest, I maybe seen a race on TV maybe once, if anything. And Scott Young went to school with my parents, and he called and asked if I ever thought about riding a racehorse. I was like, no, but I'll try it. And he's like, well, we're gating some horses out of the gate here in a couple of days. Come out, one morning and watch and see if you like it. And if you like the stuff, I'll send you to the guy to get you help. And that's kind of how it started. I went out there and I was like, yep, I got to try it. So
Yeah.
he sent me to Bobby Capps down in Vinita, Oklahoma. That's where I'm from. And I've worked for him 6 to 8 months on the farm from bottom up, from grooming, to learn how to wrap and everything. And then I eventually got to start just galloping. And then I went to the track to Scott, back to him.
Is there a difference between, I mean, obviously there is a sprint to a route. What would you do? Do you prefer one of the over the other?
I like both. I like sitting off of it, and going long and sitting right there, or even be on the lead and walking the dog. It's fun either way. I kind of like riding 6 furlongs, sitting behind the speed and kind of swinging out the head of the lane and making a little run down on the end.
I've seen you do that a whole bunch this year, and I really think you're as strong of a finisher on a horse as we've seen in some wild. Is that something you take a great deal of pride in?
Yes, sir. I've been pushed. I need to learn how to finish stronger. And that was one thing I've really focused on this winter, and it seemed to be paying off now.
I wanted a couple more minutes. Ronnie Huckabee is our guest. Take me into the starting gate. How nervous were you the first time you were in the gate in a race? In a race
Okay,
itself?
yeah, and I'll tell you my first race. So I was at Remington Park. I'm riding one for Scott Young. It's 7 furlongs, so we're way back in the chute. So we go back there, and Blim Quinones, he's on the outside of me, and he's talking to me the whole time. While we're going in the gate, he's like, "Relax, relax. Don't overthink it." But once those gate open, I I just let it play out how it was, because we've done it a million times. It's just a crowd out there at the end of the night. So we went out there and it was fun. But I was pretty nervous though. When I came back, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was ready to do it again.
Yeah, I've seen that smile in the winter circle a few times this year. No doubt about that. Ronnie Huckabee is our guest. Ronnie, the race is on. Are you talking to your horse while they're running? Are you yelling at the horse? What do you
Uh,
do? How do you try to get to his attention? I hear jocks, for
oh yeah.
periodically yelling and screaming. I'm sure you do as you're riding in a race. Are you one of those guys?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm willing to try anything to get the win. So at the end of the day, if I got to hoop and holler and whistle and whatever, I'll do it. I've yelled at some horses going down the lane and smooching to them, and they'll run from it.
I've always noticed that you guys know seemingly who won the race. When you cross the line and it's a tight photo, even if it's an inch, it seems to me like you guys have a pretty good idea whether you won the race or whether you're going to finish second. Is that
Yeah.
true?
Sometimes, like a couple weeks ago, maybe a week or two ago, me and Israel Hernandez, he was on My Ralpha and I was on Speechless, and we was doing it out late down the lane. On that race, I couldn't tell you who won that one, honestly. I was like, I thought he had it and he thought I had it. It was one of those, I was like, I don't know. We'll have to see when we come back around, but sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, you know?
Finally, here, your goals in this sport. What do you want to accomplish, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'd like to eventually to graduate and be able to go down to Kentucky and everything and go ride that circuit. You know, that'd be anybody's dream and goal, I'd think. You know, eventually ride the Derby. You know, but it takes time and work. So I think I'd like to get out there one day and rack up some wins. You know, be like a Kento Hill or Glenn Corbett or Alex Burrs or one of them guys. I like to be like that. You know.
Prairie Meadows Hall of Famers. Last thing for you, and I was remiss if I wouldn't ask you this. Tell me about your first win.
About my first win.
Yep.
Okay, it was for Boydcaster. At Remington Park. It was my fourth mount, and we was really live. And at the time, Bubba Wood was my agent, and Floyd Weffy was the other jock with us. And Floyd had to pick between the two, and he had to ride. He rode the other one, so I got that other one. And I was sitting right behind him like I normally do. And I was waiting. I'm holding her, and I had the lane. Him and Kevin Roman came off the rail. And I went right up the rail, and she just ran off. I mean, she just won for fun that day. It was, I can't tell you how many times I switched my stick down the lane that day. I was just, you just don't think you're just so excited, you just
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
Is that one of the hardest things to do is to switch sticks?
No, not real. I mean, to get it down, sometimes, you can get it hung up in your reins or whatever,
Mhm.
but it just takes practice and rhythm and constantly doing it. It just takes doing it. And eventually it'll just come secondhand nature. It just comes out.
Yeah, as much as you accomplish in this sport, you'll never forget your first win, will you?
No, I could tell you play by play.
Good stuff. Ronnie Huckaby, this week's Meet the Jockey Colony. And we've got a very strong colony at that. Ronnie, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
back in the winner's circle, and I appreciate your willingness to stick around and let me stick a microphone in front of your face from time to time. Thank
Anytime.
you, Ronnie Huckaby. Good to talk to you, man.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You do the same. Coming up this weekend, a couple more stakes races for Iowa bred thoroughbreds. On Friday night, the 3-year-old Iowa bred fillies, they're up first. Sonnet Magic is going to be one of the favorites in this race, breaking for post position number 1. Here's a look at Song Magic. Song Magic has a little quiet time back in her stall. She figures to be a big factor. Lady Trexia as well. She's only made one start, but it was certainly an eye-opener at that. Here's Lady Trexia. She kind of takes it easy, Lady Trexia. Then we fast forward to Saturday night, and it's time for the Grays Lake. And Crux, number 4, is currently the morning line favorite. He's 2-1. And what an impact he's had so far in his brief career. Crux, the morning line favorite. And if it's not him who goes off at favorite, how about number 7, Hawkeye State? Hawkeye State finally raced in Iowa. He's been all over the place. He's been at Gulfstream Park. He's been in Kentucky. Finally got back to Prairie Meadows, but didn't race against Iowa breds. It didn't matter. Hawkeye State rolls through the stretch. Now he gets to face Iowa breds. We'll see on short breast if Hawkeye State is up to the task. Our In the Money contest, we ask you to pick the horse that will finish in the money in all 9 of our races on Saturday. If you're the only person to do that, you will scoop the entire $900 pool. If you share it with a couple of people, well, that's $450, $300. You get the picture. You share in the pool. If nobody hits it, kick over the $300 to next week. This is a Saturday promotion only, on track, and you must be a member of the Prairie Gold Rewards. Never too early to start talking about stars and tripes. This is Central Iowa's best fireworks. I know I'm a little bit biased, but you've seen them all. This is as good as it's going to get. Coming up on Friday night, July the 3rd, Prairie Meadows' annual fireworks extravaganza, the Stars and Stripes. Find yourself a spot out here at Prairie Meadows or one of the surrounding streets here in Altoona. You're going to witness one of the best fireworks you have seen. And the racing festival, well, we pushed it back one more week. The week following the July 4th long weekend, the 10th and 11th, Prairie Meadows' biggest 2 nights of racing The festival of racing, three festival races Friday. Likewise on Saturday, highlighted by Prairie Meadows' signature race, the Cornhouse Grain. We'll see you next week and mark it down coming up on July the 3rd, Stars and Stripes. We'll see you at the races.